السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. النهاردة هنتكلم على محاضرة The Study Design in the Medical Research. ازاي اعمل ديزاين للميديكال للريسيرش اللي انا عايز اعمله واللي انا بفكر فيه. عشان اعمل ديزاين كويس للفكرة اللي عندي او الهايبوثيسز اللي احنا اتفقنا عليها قبل كده في المحاضرتين اللي فاتوا، عشان في الاخر اوصل ان انا بعمل ريسيرش بيبر كويسه واوصل فيها لكونكلوجن سوليد وواضح، ويبقى المسج بتاعته وصلت. احنا اتفقنا من المحاضره اللي فاتت ان انا الميديكال ريسيرش بيعتمد ان انا عندي هايبوثيسز، فكره، بدات هذه الهايبوثيسز اعمل لها بريبريشن وافكر فيها مظبوط، وبعد كده ابدا اعمل لها ديزاين. النهارده هنعرف ازاي الديزاين بيتعمل، وده الجزء الاولاني من محاضره الاستادي ديزاين.
The intended learning objectives of this lecture. First, what are the types of clinical trial? Which type of clinical trial is the most statistically significant and why? How to choose the specific clinical trial.
الكلينيكال ترايلز نوعين كبار، the observational one and the experimental one. الobservational one اللي انا بعمل فيه just observation, no intervention done on the participant or the patient, while the experimental one we do an intervention or an experiment over the patients or the participant, which is called the clinical trial. The observational one is subdivided into descriptive and the analytic one. The descriptive is the case report, cross-sectional, case series, case control, cohort, and meta-analysis. Again, the observational studies, the non-experimental, no intervention done over the patient, which are population-based or an individual-based. The population-based is a health survey or ecological study, while the individual-based either descriptive or analytic, which is a cross-sectional, case control, cohort study. While the experimental one, while do intervention on the patients or the participant. This type could be randomized or non-randomized, control trial or a clinical trial. The clinical trial types may be a prospective or a retrospective. We could see this type of an article. This is an original article. I'm one of the co-authors of this article. This is the abstract section of the article that consists of the objectives, which is the hypothesis of the article, patient and the methods, and the method, which is the methodology of the study, and the results, and finally the conclusion. Simply in this study, we randomized prospective in advance مقدما, prospective مقدما, in advance مقدما. We postulated an hypothesis based on a previous studies that the extracorporeal shockwave lithotripsy induced renal injury. This is one of the data picked up from previous research, and to avoid this renal injury, we postulated that the selenium with vitamin A, C, E, and verapamil and losartan could have a possibility of reducing the renal injury. So we randomized the patient into two groups, group to take these drugs and a group not taking these drugs. So the study design with this fashion is called a prospective pattern. In advance, the study was designed, while the other type is a retrospective. This is also one of my articles that I'm one of the co-authors. The title of the article is The Long-Term Outcomes of Upper Tract Urothelial Carcinoma, a retrospective evaluation in 275 patients. What the core of this original article is to study the outcomes of upper urothelial tract carcinoma in the patients who have already managed surgically by removing this kidney. Already managed. After they are managed with the designed and proper treatment, their data was retrieved, analyzed, and we reached a conclusion about the long-term outcomes of the upper tract urothelial carcinoma. Here we have two examples. Example about the prospectively designed study and versus the retrospectively designed. The observational cohort study is the next one that is retrospective not and can be prospective. I just observe a cohort of patients with a specific disease or a characteristic, may have another group that is a control group without intervention over the participant. What the meaning of the cohort? Cohort, according to the Oxford Dictionary, means a group of people united in a supporting an idea or a person. While in the medical study, cohort is a group of individuals who share a common experience. مجموعة من الناس لها نفس الكرايتيريا. بمعنى أنا هجيب cohort مجموعة من الناس كلهم managed by extracorporeal shockwave lithotripsy for renal stone. This is a cohort. أو a group of patients who had already managed by losartan for hypertension. So also a cohort. Again, the observational study has no intervention to the participant. Just I observe. بمعنى أنا بدي المريض مثلا، أنا بتابع المريض بعد ما خد العلاج وبشوف the characteristic of progression of the disease. Another type is a case control study. The case is the diseased patient and the control is the not diseased patient. Patient without a disease. If we have this example in this article that is entitled The Reasons for Influenza Vaccination Under Utilization. ليه؟ العيانين ما عادوش بياخدوا الانفلونزا فاكسين. أنا هجيب group of patients already have an influenza vaccine versus group who is not having an influenza vaccine, and all of them already have an influenza disease, and to find out the hypothesis of this study that why the influenza vaccines are underused. Finally, we reach a conclusion. The case control study is a retrospective, can be prospectively designed. The case versus the control. It answer a question that's what happened in a time that occurred in the past. A time that occurred in the past. A case series is another type of clinical trial. الكيس سيريز دي مجموعة small sample من العيانين في rare disease زي هنا الأوكولار tuberculosis is a rare form of extrapulmonary tuberculosis representing 1 to 2% of all clinical forms. One of the hypotheses to to focus on diagnostic and therapeutic characteristics of ocular tuberculosis. The number are only 14 patients. Only 14 patients. And they reached the conclusion that is also a rare disease, still remains a diagnostic problem, means that it is still present while it's rare disease. The clinician could face this type of diseases. So the case series study involves a small group of patients. They has a hypothesis, no control group, over a short period of time.
Another type of the clinical trial is the cross-sectional study. The observational cross-sectional study. Here, a part of a population patient with hemodialysis. I'd like to have an idea about the role of socioeconomic factors in depression and anxiety. So this is the core of the study, the hypothesis of the study, to evaluate the prevalence of depression and anxiety. So the aim of the observational cross-sectional study is to evaluate the prevalence of a specific disease in a specific population. The prevalence here of the 440 participants showed that 29.4% had a depression, while 35.9% had an anxiety. So, the cross-sectional study is a retrospective study. It's a survey of the frequency of the disease risk factor in a defined population over a time. It assesses the prevalence.
The next type is a controlled group. We said that the case control group. A case is a group of patients who have a disease, and the control group is a group of patients who don't have a disease. So you compare a group with a disease versus a group with non-disease. If we have this study to pick up the core of control trial, we have two groups of patients of impaired renal function with a missed internal urethral stents. We have a group of patients, defined population, who have a missed internal urethral stents, and have another group of patients with an internal stents which is not missed, and assess the renal function in the group with the missed stent versus the group with non-missed stent, to assess the predictors and risk factors of deteriorated renal function in a patient with internal stent. So the conclusion is that a missed internal stent may lead to deteriorate renal function if it missed inside the patient. Another popular and famous trial is the randomized trial, in which the participants are placed in a particular arm of investigation in a random way, rather than conscious of the investigator or a participant. يعني I have two group of patients. Group of patients will be subjected to this medication to avoid renal injury, versus another group who will not subjected to this medication randomly, عشوائيا. يعني ايه؟ انا هعمل randomization، وطرق الrandomization هنشرحها في the next lecture. هجيب جروب اوف بيشنتس اديله الادويه دي، وانذر جروب مش هديله الادويه دي. طب انا هختار الجروب اللي هياخد ازاي من الجروب اللي مش هياخد ازاي؟ هعمل ايه؟ هعمل طرق للراندومايزيشن، واخلي عندي شخص ثيرد بيرسون غير الانفستيجيتور او الريسيرشر وغير العيان، هو المسؤول انه يدي العيان ويختار العيان ياخد ايه ما ياخدش ايه. فايدتها ايه؟ تو eliminate the selection bias، لان انا كريسيرشر ممكن اتخيل ان هذا المريض هيستفيد اكتر من الدواء او ما اديهوله، هذا المريض مش هيستفيد اكتر من الدواء او ما اديهوش له. يبقى هنا randomization avoid the selection bias. blinded ان الانفستيجيتور والبيشنت واحد منهم is unaware of the treatment group. اما في الدبل blinded both the investigator and the patient are unaware. ناخد مثال بالاستادي اللي فاتت اللي فيها المجموعه من البيشنتس خدوا الدواء ومجموعه ما خدوش. طب انا عندي 3 ادويه في التريتمنت جروب، المجموعه اللي هتاخد ادويه، في ناس هتاخد لوسارتان، في ناس هتاخد فيتامين اي، في ناس هتاخد سيلينيوم. انهي انهي عيان في دول سيلينيوم وادي انهي عيان لوسارتان؟ هعملها راندومايزيشن ببساطه ازاي؟ هحط الادويه في ممكن في انفلوبس غلاف ومحطوط جواها الاقراص ومش معروف اسمها، واديها للبيشنت، يبقى البيشنت مش عارف هو خد دواء ايه. وممكن الجراح او الريسيرشر هو اللي يعمل كده، يبقى في الحاله دي the patient is blinded to the treatment، مش عارف هو خد ايه. طبعا قبل ما نعمل كده البيشنت is consented، ماضي على اقرار. النوع الثاني من الدبل بلايندد ان انا بجيب مثلا another person other than the patient other than the researcher هو اللي يدي الدواء للعيان. برضو الظرف اللي فيه الدواء اللي مش معروف هو اسمه ايه هيجي واحد من بره يديه للعيان، يبقى اصبح هنا لا العيان عارف ولا الدكتور اللي بيعالجه عارف، الاثنين مش عارفين، اسمها دبل بلايندد. البلايندد بس واحد فيهم مش عارف. فايده هذا الكلام ايه؟ eliminate the assessment bias، eliminate the assessor and patient bias، ان ممكن العيان يتخيل ان هذا الدواء اللي خده هو سبب التحسن اللي عنده، خاصة لو انت هتعتمد في الاوت كم بتاعك على كوتشنير، حاجات subjective to the patient. تقول للبيشنت مثلا انت اتحسنت على العلاج، يقول لك انا مبسوط على العلاج. الالم اللي في جنبك خف مع العلاج، خف مع العلاج، لان العين هنا بايست بالتريتمنت. ايه الفايده من معرفه كل هذه الاستادي ديزاين والكلينيكال ترايلز؟ which type have the most powerful statistically? which type the most powerful statistically is the double blind randomized placebo controlled. البلاسيبو اللي شرحناه المحاضره اللي فاتت وهو الكنترول بتاعنا. لو احنا هنرجع للدراسه اللي فاتت اللي فيها العيان بياخد فيتامين اي ولوسارتان انسولين in acute kidney injury protection post extracorporeal equivalence. لو انا عايز اعمل الكنترول هنا هديله ايه الكنترول؟ انا قلت هجيب مجموعه تاخد الدواء ومجموعه ما تاخدش الدواء. طب لو انا هجيب مجموعتين ياخدوا دواء، واحد فيهم ياخد بلاسيبو، ممكن ادي مجموعه الدواء بتاعنا لوسارتان وغيره، والمجموعه الثانيه تاخد بلاسيبو، اديله مثلا بارامول. طب ليه الدبل بلايند راندومايز كنترول هي احسن واحده؟ ان هي eliminating as much as bias as it can and removing the confounding factors، العوامل اللي بتؤثر على حسن سير الدراسه. كمان it ensures that the statistical samples come from truly random data set. The statistical power is defined as the ability of a study to demonstrate an association or a causal relationship between two variables, given that an association actually exists. تقدر تقول ان فعلا في علاقه ما بين التو outcomes او ما بين البرايمري والسكندري end points of the study. 90% power in a clinical trial means that the study has a 90% chance of ending up with a p-value of less than 0.05. يعني ايه؟ 90% power of the study تعني ان البي فاليو اقل من 5/100. ويعني ايه بي فاليو؟ the probability value. وليه اقل من 5%؟ لان البي فاليو indicates that the result not occur by chance. لم تحدث بمحض الصدفة. لم تحدث بمحض الصدفة. The probability that the result occurred by chance. لما البي فاليو يكون قيمتها less than 0.05 is statistically significant. طب لو هي بقت 7/10 يبقى not statistically significant. لو بقت 1/10 يبقى not statistically significant. طب لو بقت 1/100 برضو تبقى statistically significant. طب لو بقت 0.00 statistically significant لأن هي أقل من 5/100. طب لو بقت 1.2 non significant. طب لو بقت 1/10 non significant لأن هي أكبر من 5/100. Thank you. نلقاكم في المحاضرة الجاية بإذن الله تعالى. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.